Welcome back to Kabiga's Reviews. Today we're looking at Black Widow, the 2021 film directed by Kate Shortland and starring Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, William Hurt, and Ray Winstone, among others. Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger. It was so great to see an all-new Marvel movie after 2 years. It's been a long time coming, and I definitely enjoyed that aspect of this. To see these characters and this universe back on the screen was certainly a welcome treat. It's Marvel back to what they do best. It's not a perfect movie, but it's as near as can be. Action set pieces, great comedic moments, and at its very heart the story of a family reunited, which is very apt considering it's set after the bitter fallout of Captain America Civil War. I do have a couple of issues with this film, and one of them is the de-aging of Secretary Ross. They did a Princess Leia. I'm sorry, but it's not very good. And the other things are, and they're nothing major, my negatives, it's not the huge return that it was made out to be. It's a small movie. In some way, in the same vein, as they say, as Ant-Man, which came out on the heels of Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers Age of Ultron. Those were two huge movies. So to me, Ant-Man always felt like a lesser movie, which is, it's not at all. It's a great film, is Ant-Man, and I really do enjoy Ant-Man, but when you compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy or Avengers Age of Ultron, it's going to be a lesser film. It's going to be a smaller film. No pun intended, or pun intended if you want. But basically, compared to the previous two, like I say, it does feel like a lesser movie, and that's how I feel about Black Widow. It's come on, it's not the movie's fault, but it's come on the heels of, shall we say, an enforced 2-year break. It's very much unfortunate because we've had the pandemic and it's been so long, so it feels like it wants to be a bigger film and it's actually not a bigger film. And to be fair, that's not the movie's fault. It's a very much deserved solo movie for one of the original Avengers. It does what it says on the tin, but I feel it suffers from the expectation built up over those last 2 years and the fact that Disney has insisted that it's seen on the big screen. They delayed it a couple of times because they've insisted you've got to see it on the big screen. They've made it out to be bigger than it actually is. All that has given it an almost mythical status that I'm afraid it falls very, very short of, which of course it was always going to. Now, Black Widow is a very much welcomed return for Marvel and possibly exactly what we all need right now. It is a rip-roaring tour de force of action. There are set pieces that reminded me of James Bond, and Jason Bourne, particularly when they're in Budapest, which you do get explained. It's nice to have a little nice tied off with a bow on that little story and that little reference that's been seeded throughout the years. But all I can say is remember, it's not a massive Avengers movie. It's a solo movie telling the story about one of the most beloved original Avengers. Okay, so if you bear that in mind, this is certainly worth a watch, certainly worth going to see, but it's not a massive big spectacle movie that it was actually made out to be. So for that reason, I'm going to say watch it, and I'm going to score it 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, drop us a like and subscribe to see all future content.